Welcome to Jerking Around, a podcast that makes you feel better about yourself because we're a mess just like you.
And Crystal makes fun of me the whole time.
And it's great, and it's real. Hey guys, welcome back to Jerking Around.
Today we talk about
dating
and paying for the guy paying for the girl.
Do you think he should pay? Do you think you should 50-50? How should it work in dating and marriage?
And holes.
Oh, and it's just a hole.
Yeah.
Make it nice. Diamond that hole.
Make it hard to get in.
Yeah, don't let everyone in your hole.
Yeah.
Slurs.
Like you.
Yeah, slurs. And of course, P. Diddy, Johnson & Johnson, our favorite sponsors. Yeah, so listen along. We're recording with, we're going to talk about you, Jet. Jet is here. He's behind the camera.
Yeah.
And Tisha, I'm not going to say what you.
Crystal
No.
always tries to say I'm a pedophile.
She is.
And that I like little boys.
She
and
does.
It's so wrong and gross.
She
and
really
weird.
does. No, there's someone. Remember in the podcast weeks ago.
Something-year-old is not a little boy.
Yeah, because the time you were 20-something, he was a little boy.
I know,
it's
but
weird.
we're talking now. Like,
No,
you're
now
not calling
you like
Kristen
Jet.
Cavallari a pedophile.
Yeah, I thought it was weird, and I knew it wasn't going to last, and now look at him.
Yeah.
But he is really.
But if he needs somebody to help take the pain away,
I get
I'm
it.
available.
It's like if you were to define what a jawline should look like, it's his.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about all the things happening.
Okay.
Tisha, her goal is to get censored on this thing.
No.
So her idol today was Kristen Cavallari. She posted about, and we're not trying to offend anyone. I don't really think it's offensive. It's borderline facts at this point. But
Yeah.
why don't you tell what you sent me this morning?
Okay, so Kristen Cavallari, who people know,
Yes,
is
from the Hills.
From the Hills, reality star. She has
Very
a
Cavallari.
podcast. She has a podcast called Let's Be Honest.
Do you think she's that honest on it? I feel today she was.
I think actually she is pretty
think
honest.
she is, yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like a boring title, but it's fine.
Really?
I kinda-
I thought it was cute.
Really?
Yeah, like I want to be honest. What is she talking about?
Oh, I was like, well, duh. Who's lying on the podcast? Let's be liars. Like, it's stupid. I do lie sometimes, though.
No, I do want to lie. Like we said some things on last week's podcast that we want to be liars.
Yeah. No.
And we're trying to, let's be honest, and keep it not from editing it out because that's our whole goal is to be honest.
But it's so hard to be honest.
It's
Maybe
so-
that's why she made it that. Because
now she can't be a liar.
Right.
They'll call her out.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to be honest, but yet you're a liar. You hypocrite. You're canceled.
Yeah. So it's kind of a boring name, but it's fine. But today she was talking about the Kanye. She thinks Kanye is cloned because...
Explain what you're talking about. Now we're going into Tisha's conspiracies a little bit.
I mean, I don't know if people are cloned or not, but I'm not saying they are. And I mean, I do kind of think Britney is cloned at this point. It's very weird.
There's something really wrong.
Yeah. So anyways, she thinks Kanye is a clone because he one time said, like, if I go away for a long time and come back and I'm different, it's not me.
He is different though.
Yeah.
Like,
and
it's a different
he looks
body.
different, he acts different, he talks different. It's very different. So she was saying that that he was a clone. So we were just like laughing.
Then she talked to Illuminati, and that's a word you don't say.
She talked about the
So if we
Illuminati.
get canceled from here on, you heard it from us.
And the cabal. Yeah.
What's the cabal?
It's like the group.
The red
of, It's like
bracelet?
no.
Oh.
It's like the group of people in control of the world. You know,
Like Jay-Z?
Yeah. Like he's part of it. But
so
anyway,
in the Illuminati, there's cabal.
I think they're the same.
Oh, there's two names.
I'm not sure exactly. Yeah.
If they asked you to be in, would you do it?
No, because I think you have to sell your soul. I'm being dead serious.
No, I know. I believe you.
Yeah, and I don't want to sell it. It's not for sale. I'm guarding it.
No, there's songs about it.
No.
That's what's scary.
Well, and then, yeah. And I also saw this really weird video of this guy. He was like an actor, and he was saying like to get into a role, he would like let these demons possess his body. It was very weird. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Jen,
getting weird.
cut that. I'm
getting
scared.
weird.
I have to head to
Anyways,
church after this.
Back up. Anyways, Kristen got censored after she said that, which is so weird because TikTok censored it, and then Spotify censored her podcast.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And she was saying how she's probably going to get killed.
Oh, God, she didn't say that.
Yeah,
she said other people get killed.
She said if she talks like this, she's probably going to get killed.
Canceled, she said.
Yeah.
That means killed?
She told Justin, you'll get killed.
Oh, gosh, this is
Because he
dark.
said, if you got cloned, I would tell everyone. And she said, well, then you'd get killed.
Yeah. So, do you think that happens, that they kill people?
Totally.
Oh, my God.
The Clintons kill everybody.
Oh, my gosh. Well, that was a fun podcast. Oh, boy. We weren't going to go there, but I guess we did. Speaking of, Hollywood and all the goodness. P. Diddy, let's talk about it some more. I sent Tisha this. Oh my gosh, this reel. Yeah. I have to pull it up because it was so bad. It talks about how P. Diddy said his sponsor was Johnson & Johnson, which is so mind-boggling after how much baby oil they found. Yeah, he literally said, I thank you, my sponsors, on stage somewhere, Johnson & Johnson, for all your sponsorship. And then he talked about his idols, and it was like...
Johnson & Johnson is so funny.
Like, always ask me how I do it. It really comes down to one thing. Never take no for an answer.
That's scary.
Mentors like Jay-Z, Michael Jackson, and R. Kelly always told me, no, it's just yes in disguise. And I truly believe that. Also, big ups to my man Bill. He's been coming to the parties since that Monica thing, and he's always kept me out of trouble. First off, I'd like to thank my sponsors, Johnson & Johnson.
Do you think this is AI?
I don't know. A lot of things are AI, but
yeah, that's
I think it's all accurate.
Do you think that's really his idol, his like mentors?
Well, R. Kelly, you see his daughter just came out and said that he was sexually abusing her, which I don't know if I should say it.
Go ahead. You already just said so many bad things. Jen already left.
I have wondered, I'm being serious now, like people that are pedophiles.
Yeah.
Do they like their own kids or other people's kids? Because I do wonder that. Like, I kind of thought your own kid was off limits because that's like incestual.
Did you watch the Menendez brothers?
No.
Oh my gosh. So Kim was posting
How do
Kim
you have
Kardashian.
so much time to watch all this?
I stay up late. Thank you. Make me look like an idiot.
No.
I care about selling your home because we're realtors. No, I watch it like, I don't like do rubbies and cutties and all this weird things that you do. Kyle goes to sleep and I watch shows. But the Menendez brothers, I watched the one on Prime. It's more of a documentary that he tells from prison. But the one on Netflix looks like a little bit more like a storyline, but it's awful. The things I saw Kim Kardashian saying that she wanted them to be let out, and I was like, no, they killed their parents. Okay, watching the Amazon special.
Yeah.
It's
because they were sexually abusing them.
Like horribly.
The mom too?
The mom knew about it and protected him. And then told her to her face, I knew about it for years and you're fine. Like to toughen up. Changes that whole mindset of toughening your kids up. Because that's what the dad kept telling him. I'm toughening you up. This is love. This is like, it's so sick.
Yeah.
The things that went on. And how, so then he says the tipping point for the one brother was he was going to go to college and that was his out. His dad wasn't going to climb in his room anymore at night. And this is like, he's 18 and pretty built, but his dad had such control over him. So he was so excited to go away to college and his dad said, you're not going anywhere. You're not leaving. And they got in a fight. And then he was like, my life's over. I'm never getting out. So then some big fight happened and he told the other brother, both brothers were being molested and abused, but they never discussed it together till they were like 18 or 20, right before the murders.
And it started when they were little?
Little, like 7, like bleeding and like couldn't walk, all the things. Like really bad. And the mom knew. Yeah. And then what's even crazier is the family is speaking up about it.
Yeah.
So in their first trial, it's crazy the things that have happened and that they're getting away with. So in their first trial, they talked about all the abuse for years. And they had all their family members come talk about it. And all the family members are still close with the brothers because they knew they were being abused.
Right. Like they didn't find fault that they did that.
No, they would be in their house and they knew that when the dad goes in the bedroom, you don't go over there. But I guess years ago, you didn't like speak up. It wasn't like a thing. Yeah. Child abuse was very like hush hush, so they didn't know what to do, and they were living with them, so they just knew, and they could hear.
They should all be charged.
I know, and they could hear screams coming from the rooms, like the family members, like the aunt and the uncle.
Yeah, that's like an accessory to abuse,
and like these kids are like, it's so sad. But anyways, they all talked about the abuse very clearly, and that's when their first trial they had a hung jury.
Yeah,
because they couldn't say without a reasonable doubt. So the next court case, the judge took out all abuse. It wasn't allowed to be discussed.
Why?
Right. It's crazy that the judge did this because he didn't feel like it was a reason for self-defense or something. It was weird how they justified it. So then, of course, they got tried because without saying about the abuse. But what happened is the two brothers told each other that the abuse was happening. Then the mom said, I've known and you're fine. And then it really made him go crazy that his mom knew all these years and allowed it to go on.
Yeah.
Made him feel like both of them. So then they thought their parents were planning to kill them. So that's why it was like self-defense. They took him on this boat in the middle of nowhere, and they thought they were going to push him off the boat. And then one night they said, you both need to be home by this time. And so that's the night that they did it, because they're like, they're going to kill us. This is our only way to survive. Yeah. So the Prime Video one is real crazy.
Are they alive still?
Yeah, they're in jail. One of them's married. They got married in jail. And like they lead, like they've done really good things supposedly with their life. Like they lead these support groups.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I kind of almost think it's better that they're in jail, because I don't know how normal you would be.
They're pretty normal. It's crazy. The wife spoke. They've been married 20 years.
Yeah.
She was pretty normal.
But like they're in jail. Not like having a normal family. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know though. After 30 years, do you think they should be let out? I think they've done their time.
Yeah.
They lived in prison for 18 years before.
No, I'm saying it was like maybe like protection.
Yeah.
Because like if they would have had kids, who knows what would have happened? Because a lot of times that's what happens. The abused becomes the abuser.
Well, they did abuse, the older brother did. I think it was the older brother abused the younger brother, because that's all he knew is love.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So like.
But they moved him. When they got tried and convicted, they moved him just to torture him more. So the other brother went away to another prison, and they grew up like twins.
Yeah.
It's real sad.
That's awful.
It was sad. But
well, that's depressing.
So I do think that it happens within the family, like you were saying.
Yeah.
But I was listening to Dr. Laura. One guy called in, and he was a pedophile, and then he was a registered sex offender, and then he remarried someone, and he ended up one night, he said slipping. He slipped and touched the stepdaughter inappropriately. And he was calling because the stepdaughter wants nothing to do with him, but the wife and him want to get married again. And Dr. Laura was like, no, she should stay away from you. Like, this isn't okay. To the daughter, it would be so sad that she chose you over it. And he's like, but I just made one mistake.
Oh, no.
And she's like, but he knows. It's a biggie. Yeah. So I do think they're okay with their own kids.
I saw this interview of a guy. Did I say this last time? About the dads? Or did I just tell you? There was this interviewing this like serial sexual pedophile molester guy. And he said he specifically, they were like asking him how he picks his targets. And he was like, I pick the kids that don't have dads in their lives or a strong dad figure. He was like, and it was boys he targeted. And he was like, yep, if I'm scared of the dad or I know the dad is very present and involved in the kid's life, he's like, I always targeted the families where there was no strong dad figure. And I just thought that was like really
so sad.
Well, and it's just so important, like what a dad figure does in a family. Like it's protection too, you know?
Yeah. Speaking of, on the way here, you were talking about your friend that was talking about dating, and he was older, and we were just talking to our other friend that's older in their 40s.
No, it was at Kevin Hart.
Yeah, so tell that story, because that kind of goes into the dad thing too.
Yeah, well, we were talking to our friend who's our age, 40s, and he was saying that he's single, and the young ladies want to date him.
Like the 20s.
20s, and it's like this new fad.
Yeah.
And I had no idea this was going on.
So do you think you had mommy issues, and that's why you like the little boys?
I did have mommy issues. I'm like, is this counseling? This is an intervention? Totally.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe that's why you like the younger boys, because you did have mommy issues.
I don't like the younger boys.
Yeah, you do.
No.
You do.
I liked one guy, Kristen Cavallari, and she liked him too.
So when we went to Justin Bieber, though,
you like Justin Bieber too,
I love Justin
you don't
Bieber.
have mommy
I don't like
issues.
him anymore. He's too skinny now.
Yeah.
He needs like a cheeseburger.
I like a bigger guy.
Yeah, but tell him what happened with Ben, your husband. What he told you.
No, you told that already.
I did?
Yes.
But it's so funny. You really thought you guys were going to hook up that night.
I know. Justin Bieber doesn't want me. He's got Haley.
You told all of us after the concert that he did, and that you guys had a connection when he was on stage.
I think I had some drinks.
And I think you took off your shirt.
No. I do take my shirt off a lot, though.
But at the concert you did?
No, I think was it at the concert?
I think it was at the concert, because you came in and told us.
I know, Ben
like,
can't
we
listen
sat
to
in
this
different, well, good
episode.
thing Ben doesn't listen. We sat in different sections, and Melissa and I had a great old time, like just a happy concert.
I was with Megan. We should call Megan and ask her at some point.
And then you came out and said, I might have taken off my shirt, and Justin and I had a connection. But the weirder part is, Ben told you, why are you wearing a thong to the Justin Bieber concert? Like, he's going to see your underwear.
But I always wear thongs. It's like, if I wasn't wearing a thong.
I know.
Yeah.
Do you wear granny panties when you go certain places?
I don't even own a pair.
So what, would no underwear have been better?
I don't know. It was just weird.
Maybe he thought you were going to be one of the groupies in the back. Little
That's
did he
what
know
I
you
think
did
he
take
thought.
off your shirt. Good thing it wasn't your pants.
Yeah, but I wasn't near Justin when the shirt came off. I think I was just being
So
funny.
maybe that is why you like younger.
I'm like Kyle. Like I just like to make people laugh when I have a few.
Yeah. So anyways, you
So then we went to Kevin Hart this weekend,
Yes.
which was really funny. And the opening acts, there was 3 opening acts. They were so funny. And the guy was our age. And he was talking about this whole thing, how he's 44. And he said all these 25-year-olds are wanting to date him. Like more than the older. And he was like, I can't keep up with them. I'm tired. But it's just weird.
What does he mean by that? Like in the bedroom?
No, he meant
just like running around.
Yes, running around. He's like, I'm ready for bed at 9 o'clock, which I really identify with that because I'm so ready for bed. Yeah. But isn't that weird that this is going on now?
Do you think it's a lack of male figure?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I think our friend that was telling us said there was like some guy that was like dating younger women and now it's like a fad.
Oh, like a cool guy?
Yeah.
Like Justin Bieber, but
yeah,
not
like
Justin Bieber?
it was like a thing. Yeah. I can't remember the name.
Yeah, that's sad.
But
Daddy issues are a thing.
But why are they dating the older guys? Maybe
I think they want like a protector and like money. So I was watching. Kevin Hart.
And the younger guys are kind of like feminine nowadays. Have you noticed?
Yeah.
Like
who?
In the 20s.
Like who?
Like there's just a lot that I maybe would go for an older.
So you don't like Metro?
No, I don't like Metro.
You don't like Metro. You don't think Ben has a little Metro in him?
Totally.
Yeah, I know. You just said you don't like it.
I have the funniest story. I can't tell it.
Her husband's Ben, and he does have a little Metro to him.
I have the worst story. He's going to get
They've been
so
married
mad
10
if
plus years. How long?
15 years.
Oh, 15 years. I'm sorry.
14.
Okay,
Next
so
year
get
will
it
be
right.
15.
So, but you don't like Metro.
No, he does have a little bit of
He does have a Metro.
Not a gay vibe, but like you think it's gay?
I think gay guys would like him.
They do. So this is my story.
Totally.
Okay, I'm going to tell the story. He's going to get really mad though.
If we're not offending
Jed, I'm
anyone.
so sorry.
Go ahead.
So we went to CJ's game last week was far, and on the way home we got food. So we stopped to the Chick-fil-A drive-thru. So Ben is like Crystal, very friendly, too friendly. Sometimes shut up, you know.
Yeah.
And so we ordered our food, and then we pull up to where the Chick-fil-A, and you know how there's a guy standing there that hands you? You're not just like at the window.
Yeah.
Well, Barrett was like, oh, I want a shake. So we had to add the shake on later. So Ben goes to the guy, hey, boss. And the guy was like, hey. And
they had a connection?
Yeah. It gave me a weird vibe. And I was like, so just listen. I already told the story to 3 of our friends, and it's like demasculating, and Ben was so mad. But I'm telling it on, to thousands of people. No, we don't have thousands of listeners. I'm telling it to 5 listeners. So anyways, Ben goes, hey, boss. I'm sitting right there. And
did you think he was like flirting in front of you?
Well, it gave me that feeling. And the guy goes, hey. And I was like, and the guy goes, hey, can we add on like an Oreo shake? And the guy was like, yeah, man, I think I can do that. And it was just like the exchange was very weird. And I was like going like, what the hell's going on? And so he goes, and then the guy's like, okay. And then he was like, can I get your card? And Ben was like, sat there for a minute.
Like thinking the guy had it?
And
like it was going to be free?
Yes.
Because they had like a thing?
I don't know.
This is horrible.
Then the guy goes, then Ben goes,
did he charge
sorry.
him?
So Ben goes, sorry, here's my card. I thought you were going to take care of it. And the guy goes,
he said that?
It's so freaking weird. And the guy goes, I work at Chick-fil-A, man. I can't afford a shake. And then the guy walked away. And I just go, that was really weird.
Did he have you dress up like a Chick-fil-A worker that night?
That's what our friend said. Like role play later. No, but I was like, that was really weird. And he goes, what do you mean? I go,
I don't think it's that weird listening to it.
It was, oh no.
Oh gosh.
It was so like a weird vibe. Like, like I was uncomfortable. And
I totally think gay guys would love Ben.
He used to work at Starbucks when he was in college with his friends. His aunt was a manager there, so she got him and all his friends there. And he said like all the time guys would hit on him there. He does have that kind of Metro, but then he can also be really manly when he's hunting. So like, I'm more into that side.
Do you like the hunting? Does he wear like camo in the bedroom?
Yeah.
Wait, for real?
Not in the bedroom, but when he goes hunting.
I know, but like, do you have him like put antlers on or something?
That.
Tell him about what you do.
That was a long time ago.
Kyle tells everybody about it.
I know. I'm
you can't tell him anything.
Up.
Yeah, if you've watched Law and Order SVU.
I used to have a crush on Stabler. So,
I did too. He was manly.
He was so manly.
Yeah.
And
he would like protect her. I got it. Yeah.
And like, so we would sometimes be like, Stabler, like.
It was weird though that you would pretend he was like, Stabler, save me. Someone's performing a sex crime on me.
This is so wrong. This whole thing is wrong.
Moving on.
And Ben's not gay. And I don't No, but it was really weird. I think the guy, I don't know. But then
the fact that you have to say that.
I was telling CJ, or I was telling the story and CJ heard, and he was
son.
like,
CJ,
I don't feel like he would be working at Chick-fil-A. I feel like he'd be working at like maybe if the guy was gay. It's not like
Why?
Because Chick-fil-A is kind of more like conservative.
I know, but who cares? They don't care.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, have you watched the new season of Love is Blind?
No.
So I was watching it this morning when I was doing laundry. Maybe that's why you don't watch TV.
Yeah,
you don't do those
laundry.
So, anyways, the girl was, they were dating. And it's just so funny to watch the stupid things they say behind the thing. But the girl was asking, so when we get married, or if we get married, what do you think would be appropriate as far as paying the bills? Because this one guy's rich, and he keeps telling everybody he's rich, but it's super sad. His family died, and they all, like 3 family members died in a year, and he was an only child. But Love is Blind is on Netflix. It's just a dating show where they don't see each other for 6 weeks. They date behind a wall.
Yeah.
And then they get engaged behind the wall, and then they meet in person, and they have to get married within 30 days.
So they have to pick each other before they see each other.
Have you watched it all the way through yet?
I watched another season, yeah. Not
all the way through?
Not the whole.
So you got to get to the ending. That's when it's like, you can't even believe it's happening.
Yeah.
But anyways, so in the beginning, they're behind the walls and getting to know each other by their values, not their looks. It's a cute
idea.
Like, yeah. And a lot of them have stayed married, have kids. Like, it's worked, like The Bachelor, but better. But anyways, so she asked, like, what do you think's appropriate for as far as like when we pay bills? And she's like, most guys have said 50-50. And he was like, yeah, I'm okay with like, I mean, maybe I could pay, he's fully rich. He's like, maybe I can pay for like 60-40, but I want the girl to have some skin in the game. Like, we need to pay some bills.
Right.
And she was like, well, I like to get my hair done and this and that. I can contribute a little, but to look good, it costs money. And I just thought it was the weirdest thing that she said all the other guys said 50-50. What do you think is appropriate?
I'm 100-0. I'm ready for my trophy wife era.
That's what I was thinking, though. I was like, I think a guy should totally take care of a woman, like, and provide. Well, I mean, Kyle and I, like, I help, but it's not like he's like, do you have the mortgage payment this month?
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm way more traditional in that way. Ben pays the bills. And then I feel like...
Tell what you pay for. Go ahead.
I didn't work for a long time. And now I do work a lot. And I pay for vacations now and fun things. And
you do help. Like, you help with some things, too.
Yeah, like we did stuff to our house last year. I paid for that.
Yeah, and you pay for your car now.
Yeah.
But it's not like...
car payment.
It's not like it's your portion. Mine either. I'm the same.
No.
I pay for cushion. I help pay off debt. That's what my money goes to. Not saying it's bad if your husband can't pay all the bills. I think that's fine. I think things are dynamics. Kyle didn't work when he started his company. I paid the bills. Like, I think all that's fine.
Yeah.
I just think in dating, it's just weird to be like, you're going to pay half. So then when they go on dates, does the guy pay half?
Well, and I think you need to talk about it before you get married, because I think if you're wanting to be a stay-at-home mom and be more in the home.
You always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom.
Totally. I think you need.
Why is that?
But
For real though, why did you always? Because I never wanted to.
And I always told Ben that from the very beginning. I was never like, I'm gonna make all these. I'm gonna contribute so much. Like, no.
Yeah. Why did you always want to be one?
Well, because my mom, I wanted to be a really good mom and just focus on my kids, because I felt like I didn't have that. You know. So that was like always important to me. So like when I was dating a guy, if they were like unable to provide financially, that was like that played into wanting to date them.
So you're a gold digger. Basically.
Totally.
Wait, really?
No. But like.
Kind of.
I'm just
That's
kidding.
so funny, because I didn't ever want to be a stay-at-home mom. And
but I had to find someone who thought that there was value in that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? It wasn't.
Yeah, so I dated guys where I paid for a lot, and it was stupid. And then when it went south, I dated a guy before Kyle, my husband, and
I remember.
We went on trips, and I would like book everything.
Yeah.
And Kyle, my husband, is very debt-free, no credit card debt, especially credit card debt, very anti-debt. So I had gone on this trip with my boyfriend like a few months before, and he never paid me back half, which is a huge red flag. Not even half. Like, I paid for the whole trip.
Yeah.
And we were both teachers. I'm not giving it away who it is, but we were both teachers, so it's not like either one of us really had a lot of money. So when Kyle and I started dating and we got engaged, we didn't talk about like our financial standing before we got married. So I remember the weekend, we got engaged the night before we went to Vegas for Memorial Day. And in Vegas, we were all having fun, and he's like, so, do you have any debt? And I was all,
such a Kyle thing to say, too.
like, who says that?
He's so me. I would totally ask
and like, we were all like going out, so it wasn't like. I remember being on this trip and being like, ugh. But my parents were very pro-debt. not being rude.
Yeah.
But they didn't think it's a big deal. Like they weren't a big like pay your debt off. Whereas my brother's very debt free.
Well, they were like, you're paying for your own school, all that. So
and like they had car payments. They had like both had veneers, and they just believe in pay the minimum payment forever, which then was hard on us because we never really had abundance, because when you're paying minimum payment on 20 things, that takes your whole paycheck.
Yeah.
But my brother was very debt free, but I had $60,000 in college debt from paying for school, and I didn't think it was that big of a deal. And I swear, when I told Kyle, I thought he was going to get the ring back.
Yeah.
Like he was like, "You what?" And I was like, "Yeah, I just have $60,000 in credit card, and I have like $1,500 on a credit card, and I think I had." I think my car was paid off at the time. So I thought, only student loans, that's not that bad.
Yeah.
I had a paid off car, and it was like a newer car. And he literally was like, "Wait, really?" And I remember, I don't want to throw his family under the bus, but let's be honest. They didn't love that either, that I had student loan debt. And it was like this big deal. But when we got engaged, he didn't like that I was making a credit card payment. So he was like, "Why do you have a credit card?" And I was like, "Well, I went to Chicago with my ex. He never paid me back." So Kyle totally paid off the credit card.
Oh, that's nice.
And he like totally helped me.
He's such a gentleman.
Yeah, like we had to fix up my house to try to get it rented so that we could move in together, and he paid for all that. Like he was always a provider.
Yeah.
And when we were dating, I remember he thought it was so rude that we would go to dinner. Well, I had dated these other guys where I paid for everything, or they asked me to split it, and I just thought they were never like, I never felt secure with them. I never felt like
Taken
protected.
care of.
Yeah. And my dad always made me feel safe and secure. And I remember when we first went on dates, he thought I was like Joe Scottsdale because I wouldn't pull out my wallet. And he was like, "I didn't care that I was paying, but it was rude you didn't even be like, 'Let me help.'" And I could say no.
Yeah.
And I would just be all. But I remember I was like, I don't want to date a guy that can't pay for me. That means he won't provide for me. That means he won't take care of me.
So you're a gold digger too.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. But in marriage, like like if he's not willing to provide for you dating, like the man is such a provider in so many different ways. It's not even just financially. Like if something goes down, Kyle's going to take it. Like, I can't say that lightly. Like, I don't know. Like when I went on bed rest, I was literally in bed all day, every day. Kyle had to do everything for me. Yeah. Get all the groceries, do laundry. I couldn't do anything. So it's like that same, like, I feel like servant.
A guy, like most guys, maybe not all guys, and nowadays it's weird, is that apparently, I don't know anything about this generation, but I feel like
you know a lot about the younger generation.
They take pride in being able to provide for their family.
Yes.
So like most guys, I feel like that. Like obviously nowadays everything's so expensive. Both people have to work.
Totally.
But
I
like,
agree.
I don't think a guy would be happy. Most guys, like just letting the wife pay for everything.
Well, and I think there's times where that's okay. Like when you're starting a new company, and we have friends where her husband just started a new company, so she's kind of like, tag me in.
But just permanently being like, no, I'm not providing. I feel like men like that role.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of an innate thing that God made men, I think, a provider. Caretaker.
When I was paying the bills while Kyle was building his business, I did feel like this dynamic shift.
Yeah.
Like he started calling me mommy.
Right.
And no, I'm just kidding.
I was all...
No.
He started leaving cash on the... No,
yeah,
I'm just kidding.
It was getting weird. But no, I felt like it did take a little... I didn't want him to... Yeah. I didn't want to demasculate him.
Right.
Kyle and I are watching this show. It's called The Affair on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
It's totally a pause and toss kind of show. It has moments, where you're like,
pause and toss,
So Kyle loves those shows. I'm not saying he's into...
I love the pause and toss.
Really?
No, because it's like I'm into the show. And then it's like...
So if you are watching a show and it gets a little, you don't pause?
No. I'm like, after the show, and then I go to sleep. Because I am in the mood during the show, but I don't want to stop the show.
You can just pause it and then pick it back up?
No, it's not
Never?
the same. No.
Oh my gosh. So in The Affair, there's been, I fall asleep. So then I hear like weird sounds and I'm like, what are you watching? But I forget like we were watching it together. But it's this story about like this couple that was so cute with 4 kids and they go on this family vacation. It's old.
Yeah.
It's like from years ago. And they go stay with her family in Montauk. and her family has money.
Yeah.
And then he ends up going with this other girl. But I feel like part of why the affair started is she had like a trust. She was like a trust fund.
Yeah.
She was like the it girl in high school. And I think he always felt demasculated by her. Like he always felt beneath her. And now with the new girl who kind of came from nothing, he's like the big deal. And now he has this big book deal and he's like flourishing with her.
Right.
And it's like, I do think there's that, because I'm a strong personality. Sometimes I'm like, I don't want to take over too much.
You are?
Don't be rude. I'm sorry. I can't pause right now. I don't care if you want to. I have to finish my show and go night-night. Just keep rubbing me for another hour. No, I am a strong personality, but I don't want to take away from like...
The man.
Yeah, making him feel like a big deal.
Yeah. No, I just think it's every day, every family's different what they like. I feel like for me, it was very, like, I was like, I want to be a stay-at-home mom. I need to find a guy that wants to find value in that. And I am not going to pay.
So would you have married someone if they didn't let you stay home?
No, I don't think so.
Really? So it's so funny. I was on the opposite. Kyle wanted me to stay home, and I didn't want to stay home.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that he was pressuring me into that, because I was like,
yeah,
I have my career, and I am
But
who
you're
I am.
more driven than I am. True. You know? Like, that wasn't like a goal of mine, you know? And I think you've always been driven with goals. My goal was to be a mom.
Yeah, I think that's great. I wish
So it's like I was
that.
driven in that goal. So
yeah, for sure.
I feel like, yeah, no, I did date guys though where I paid, like, there's some not naming names, but.
Rhymes with pony.
Or no, rhymes with
Bond.
Sven. But,
Oh, wait. Okay, go ahead.
Anyways, he was like, I don't think he was homeless, but like he was in between homes. It's just like so loser.
Who?
I was an idiot.
Okay, go ahead.
You
and
know
what'd you do?
what I'm
I know.
talking about, right? Anyways, he didn't work, and he was in between homes. Yes.
Okay.
And so I was
when you had a secret affair.
Yes.
That you didn't tell me about. I'm all, where'd you go last night? She was like, Salty Senorita, and I'm like, with who? So she didn't think I would ask that question, and of course I would. And what did you say? My work friends? And I'm like, you don't even like those people.
Well, I didn't want to tell you because I knew what you would say.
That he's a loser.
Yeah. Anyways, he's a nice person, but not for me.
He is a nice person, yeah.
So anyways, but I did pay for everything and drove because I don't think he had a car, or maybe he did have a car. It was just like.
Why'd you drive? Do you think that's normal when
we've talked about this.
I've talked to many girls about this, and we just talked to one of my.
I'm just more traditional. I don't want to drive the guy. Like
we
for
just
a second.
talked to a girl who's dating. That's a good friend of mine. Remember, we were at the house and we were on speaker.
Yeah.
And she wanted her guy she's dating, because this is the whole thing,
yeah.
right? You have the dating, the talking, dating, then so she's not in the official stage yet.
Yes.
And she was going out of town, and she wanted he offered to pick her up at the airport.
Right. Because she had already picked him up at the airport.
Yes. And she felt bad that she didn't want him to have to use his gas money. And we were like, if he can't spend gas money on you, how would he be a provider as a man in your life?
Right.
Like,
and more importantly, why are you not valuing yourself enough to feel that you're worth him spending your gas money?
Yeah.
And picking you up.
Yeah.
Like, I make Ben do crazy things all day, every day.
Wait, made, like past tense, or make?
Current, past, all of it. Future. All of it. But I'm just saying, I'm like, hey, I need you to get this. I need you to do this. Like, and he's doing I'm so inconvenient all the time. I'm never worried about being an inconvenience because I am an inconvenience. And like.
But he is to you as well. I feel like it goes both ways.
100%. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's like, I forgot a meal. I'm driving a meal to him.
Yeah, I think it's both ways. But if he can't pay for gas money during the dating stage, chances are.
No.
He's not gonna.
Yeah.
One of my exes, ironically, the same ex that we just talked about, we were at a wedding, and we've talked about this a lot, and our kids are just starting to date or talk, whatever it is. So it's like super weird. We talk about it all the time. But so we were fully boyfriend and girlfriend, and like years in at this point. My parents didn't love him. And so in the beginning, we would fight, and he would tell me, your parents are controlling and this and that. Because that's what happens in a relationship. They try to control your mind.
Isolate you.
Yes, and isolate you. I didn't hang with my friends as much. I didn't hang with my family as much. I was believing what he was telling me. And then my parents were always say they didn't like him, and then they decided, my brother told them, we got to stop saying it because it's driving her towards them. And it was. So then my parents started to just be okay. My brother, they would just be accepting of him, and they would be nice to him. And then when I saw him not being nice back, I was like,
he's the problem.
Yeah. So one night we were at a wedding, And my family was there, and they were going to leave, and they said to him, hey, make sure you take care of her tonight and get her home safe. And he said, I'll do what I can. And that didn't make them feel super secure. No. And my dad almost popped him in the face.
That's what I say, if someone said that to Ben about Kenny.
Yeah, and like everybody, there was beverages, like there's people, like, and it's a big thing. Like when you leave and it's late and we had far to drive, to say, take care of her tonight and get her home safe, isn't
even
like,
if you're not planning on it, just lie and say, I got her.
Yeah,
like who says no?
I'll do what I can. Yeah, just to spite. It was just to like.
Yeah, be a dick.
Yeah, so that was the beginning to the end. Yeah. I think we broke up like 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
And then I met Kyle like 6 weeks later.
Yeah.
It's crazy how that works. But yeah, if he can't pay for gas money, he can't get you home safe from a wedding. That same guy though, I remember one night I was driving home. I tell this story all the time, probably already told it, but I want young listeners to listen to this. I remember we were driving home. It was like 10:30 at night. I was following him to like, we were going to my house or something, which again was stupid. The ex that I keep telling these stories about. Yeah. Same ex.
Hopefully he doesn't listen.
He might, but he's happy and everything worked out the way it's meant to. Yeah. We just weren't meant to be. But it was like 10:30 at night and we were going to go to my house and I was like, I got to get gas. And he's like, okay, I'll just see you at your house. And I thought it was so weird. He didn't follow me to the gas station.
Like you could get murdered.
Yeah, like my dad would pump my own gas. Yeah. Like my dad would never do that.
Yeah.
And so I kind of was annoyed at him. You know when you're already fighting all the time? And I was like, you're going to have me go to the gas station by myself? He's like, what, you can't pump? And they do this. They
flip it.
They manipulate. Yeah. You can't pump your own gas.
And then you're like,
are you the kind of girl that needs a guy to do everything for you? And then you believe it. And you're like, well, no, I can pump my own gas. Because this pro-women's movement, like, oh, we don't need a guy. Yeah. And like, I need we do. Guy. I need a guy every day. And you really need it for
I need it for a lot of things. The coffee, the laundry, no. Yeah, that too.
Anyways, so I remember when Kyle and I were newly dating, one night, it was only like 8:30 and we were going somewhere and I was like, I got to get gas. He goes, okay, I'll follow you to the gas station. He just said it like that. You just
like knew, yeah.
And it was like the moment where I was like, oh my gosh, he's so for me. Because the ex would always manipulate me and be like, you want to be a princess. Yeah. You think, I should.
Right. And then you start questioning your values or the things that are important to you because they not make in you line feel with crazy. Them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you weren't crazy. You just needed to find a guy who liked doing that.
Yeah. And like with Kyle, like even my family, a lot of guys didn't have a very strong family life. And my family was very close, but we just lost my dad last year. So it changes things a little bit, but we would always go to dinners and we would always do all this fun thing. Right. And all my friends loved that I had this cool family.
Right.
They all remember you would come to dinner with us all the time. My family was like, everybody was always at my house. And I remember a lot of guys would be like, your family's controlling. They want to control your every move. And I'd be like, yeah, you're right. They are kind of controlling. Whereas Kyle would be like, what's your family doing tonight?
Yeah.
And it just like, his family was just as involved as my family.
Right.
And I didn't have to like change him.
Yeah.
And make him buy into the things that mattered to me.
Yeah.
And I mean, you got Ben to agree with, she likes the back door more than the front.
No, I
And
don't.
that took a little convincing.
I'm not a backdoor girl.
It took a little convincing because it made him feel like the guy at Chick-fil-A.
No.
Yeah.
I can't believe I told that story. He's going to be so mad. Did it come out wrong?
I mean, it came out right. It's not that bad. Ben's he's not into that.
No, he's not. But the guy, we don't know.
Well, I think, like I said, a lot of guys would like Ben. But anyways, so with the right guy, it should be easy. But I do think the pro-women's movement kind of changes things, especially like in reality TV and shows.
Well, so many girls don't have these standards, so then the guys aren't doing these things. So then what happens is when they meet a girl that expects this, they're
not used to it.
And they're threatened and they tell them all these things, but it's like, no, you just need to wait until you find the guy that is
matches, where it just clicks.
Right.
Dr. Laura always says that, Dr. Laura Schlesinger, we talk about her all the time, but on her podcast, she talks about that today, dating is like free prostitution. Because back in the day, especially back in the day, you didn't have sex until you were married unless you were like a slut. Do you use the word slur ever?
Totally.
I said the word slur to my cheerleaders before homecoming. I was like, don't be a slur. And they were like, what's a slur? And I was like, a slut whore.
No. My friend's birthday last year, it was a year ago this time. I said the word slur. And they're like, that's a made up word. And I'm like, that's a full word.
It's both. Don't be a slut. Don't be a whore. Don't be a slur.
It's like a super slut.
Yeah.
You're so slutty. Slut doesn't even cover it. So I literally pulled out my phone and Googled it. And it's like in Urban Dictionary. It's a full term.
Oh, the girls were like, what do you mean slur? I'm like, well, the girl that has her dress up on the pole
a whore
is a slut.
It's a full term.
Don't be a slur. It's
I feel
disgusting.
like that was a big term back in our day.
Yeah, what's the new term?
Oh, I
don't know.
Gosh.
Anyways, so So Dr. Laura said, in the day they used to have to marry you to have sex.
Yeah.
And it was like this big thing. And you got married young because everybody wanted to have sex.
Right.
But then even like more traditionally, you'd have to date, you'd have to wait. Guy would really have to hunt the girl down.
Like court him.
Yeah. And then that's why prostitution was so big, because if a guy wasn't in a relationship, he couldn't have sex.
Right.
So he would go pay for it. But nowadays on these new Tinder and all the things, she says like you go to dinner, you don't even have to pay for the dinner. You split it, because remember, we don't need a man and we can pay 50%. And then the girl has sex with him just because he didn't even take her to dinner. They met at dinner. She paid for her own dinner. And then she just does it with him because women think that that's connection. Yeah. And I always tell like younger, older girls, like my old cheerleaders that are older or girls that are dating that ask us for advice. And it kind of does happen a lot. They do ask us for advice.
All the time.
But I said, it's just a hole. Like, it's not like it's diamonds on your hole.
Yeah.
What makes that thing so precious is it's hard to get in.
Yeah.
Like, if everyone's getting in it, it's not like what you're doing with your hips is that magical.
No.
We all have hips. We all move them.
Right.
We all have the same things.
Yeah.
It's just a hole. I mean, they look different. We learned that last week. There's innies, there's outies, there's uppies, there's downies, there's hangies, there's lowies, there's tuckies, there's not. But it's not what, like, even when you kiss someone, it's not like what they do with their tongue that makes it good.
Right.
Like, Kyle and I waited, especially being older, we waited like a few weeks to kiss, which is a lot.
So did we. It was like 4 dates.
And
by
we were
then,
like
28.
It was like fumes. Like, it was like, and I've also kissed a guy at a bar, and it's like, you know, it's nothing. Yeah. But when I waited with Kyle to kiss him, and we dated, and like, I respected him, and I was dying to have that kiss, like, even at the movies, I remember we were like 20, we were old, and we were sitting there like this the whole time. And I was like, I didn't even watch the movie. I was like, put your hand on my leg, put your hand on my leg. Like all I thought about.
You can like feel the like tension. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's like so fun is to do that. And then have the kiss and then wait to do the sex. And it's so much more magical when you have earned respect and loved rather than, that's why guys these days, they have to do all these freaky things to get like,
off.
Because there's no emotional connection. There's no work at it. There's nothing that makes that whole precious.
Yeah, I just told Ken because she was telling me about a girl at school that she knows that was kissing, making out. And
what grade is Ken in?
8th.
8th grade.
And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like telling her, hey, Dad and I went on 4 dates. Like, or it might even have been more than that.
No, it was because you were doing what I was doing.
Yeah, and the dates weren't like back to back. It was like a week, and we were talking in between. It was like a month of, or maybe even longer.
But both of us have done it the other way many, many times.
But then it was
we were learning it was getting us nowhere. So let's go back to the old school rules.
And then he was so excited when we did kiss, and I was, because at that point we had developed real feelings for each other, and like, I was trying to tell her, I'm like, your first kiss, you should be in love. You should be in a committed relationship. Like, this isn't something you just do with some guy, you know?
Yeah. Well, and then you never get one back. I remember some of our friends that we're friends with now it's funny because I'm not going to say her name, but they would do spin the bottle in like 4th grade.
Yeah.
And they would come to my window. They'd knock, like, because Saved by the Bell was in back then. And remember, they would like...
Oh, Kelly's window?
Throw rocks and go to the window. So like, they would come to my window and be like, we got a bottle, want to play? And I remember my parents did install good values in me. And I was like, I'm not having my first kiss at Spin the Bottle.
No.
But I'll watch you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I totally watched. But I remember one time I was at a party and they were all playing Spin the Bottle in the bushes. And this was like in 5th grade. And I had to go use the house phone with the long cord, you know? And I was trying to get out of there. And I couldn't, all the parents were drinking inside. And I remember being like scared because it was like...
No, and that happens. That's where this kiss happened. The parents were there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is going on?
So how long had they been dating?
Like a day.
A day.
But anyways, but the parents are there.
Where was your first kiss?
Where?
When? How old were you?
Junior.
You were
sophomore.
junior?
Sophomore.
So that one guy, we'll call him Bon.
Yeah.
Was your first kiss.
Yeah.
And that was like your first boyfriend.
Yes, for like 5 years. Yeah.
See, my first kiss was in 7th grade. I feel like that was young now, but back then it wasn't.
Right.
And I know like some girls these days get made fun of if they don't have a first kiss. But I also do feel like kids are better than, well, the kids that were around.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of Maddie's friends, no one's had a first kiss and they're in high school.
Right. Well, the parents, I feel like there was more opportunity when I was younger. I just never had a
Yeah, because you were out till the street lights came home.
Nowadays,
we
I'm
weren't
like,
tracking.
where are you at?
Yeah.
What are you doing? My kids, they don't know. They can't even breathe without me knowing where they are.
Were you allowed to go in the room with your boyfriend in high school? In the bedroom?
And at his house, yeah.
Not at your house?
No.
Did he ever go to your house?
No.
Her dad was a cop, commander, so there was nothing going on there.
No, he wasn't even allowed to drive by my house.
We were allowed to go in my room, but we had to keep the door open. And let me tell you, that door open didn't stop us from a thing.
Yeah, no.
So I'm like so worried about now that we're dating all this stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh. You know, my oldest likes someone, but they're only talking. And I was like, don't kiss him till it's official. Like, make him work, because once you have your first kiss, then you've already had a first kiss.
Yeah.
And then don't do what you did with the,
No, that's horrible. Don't do what you did with the multiple first kiss, multiple guys at one time, one guy.
No, but I'm serious. Make that stuff be different.
Yeah.
Because once you start slurring around, you're no one special.
No.
That sounds bad.
That's sad.
I know. Have you ever slurred around?
No.
Yeah, you did.
No.
She sure did. And she didn't feel good about herself. And I did too, and I didn't feel good about myself. That's why we locked it up with our husbands.
I'm not on Kristen Cavallari's podcast.
Yeah,
I don't have
let's
to
be liars.
honest.
Let's be liars.
Speaking of liars, I feel like you should lie to your kids.
We were going to ask that.
Yes.
Okay, so
I had a boob job at 18. And then
good choice.
it was a horrible choice.
My
mom had boob jobs growing up. And so I thought, that's the thing, is you do what your parents do.
I know.
So this is why you should lie.
Yeah.
So anyways.
I agree. I'm on the fence about it.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So to an extent. So anyways, my mom was always like, oh, she had 3 boob jobs. So I was like, oh yeah, you get old enough and you get a boob job. So I was 18 and I got a boob job. It's stupid. I was not mature enough to get a boob job. I had boobs. It was the worst decision ever. And it was all for the wrong reasons. Not saying like after you breastfeed kids, you want to lift, you want a boob job, get a boob job.
She's saying that because I have a boob job
Yeah, it's fine. But I'm saying as an 18-year-old that has perfect boobs, you don't need a boob job.
Yeah.
So anyways, I didn't want to tell my daughter that I had a boob job because I didn't want her to think that you grow up and you get a boob job.
Like your mom, yeah.
And your body's not perfect. So I always just acted like I had huge boobs.
So she had big boobs, like a little bit smaller than mine. You can probably see them.
Yeah.
And then is like this within a week.
So then I decided to get an explant because
What did you tell her?
I want nothing out.
But what did you tell her? Because you didn't tell her you had a boob job.
No. So
my mom did the same
decided to get an
stupid
explant. I was like, I want nothing unnatural in my body. So I had to tell my kids, all my kids, because none of them think I had a boob job at this point. So I said, Mom is getting a breast reduction.
My mom, oh my gosh. My mom.
I'm so your mom.
You're so my mom. My mom, I went to spend the night at my best friend's house once, and she calls me, hey, I'm in the hospital. And I'm like, huh? She's like, the doctor found some tumors, which is so scary.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, what? You're dying? She's like, yeah, they had to take the tumors out. And we get home, she has these flat boobs. And she's so proud of them.
I should have said that.
I know.
Yeah.
No. So then at home, I'm finding these pamphlets about your breast reduction.
Yeah.
My mom didn't even have a boob job. She just wanted smaller boobs.
Yeah.
But didn't want me to know she was getting cosmetic surgery. So told me she had tumors, which I was worried she was going to die.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. So anyways,
so I get this surgery, and my kids are like, "Oh my God, I look like Edward Scissorhands, or Sally from Nightmare on Elm Street. I got stitches
my mom
everywhere.
had that too.
I have tubes coming out of me. I'm like The Walking Dead, right? And so Ken's like, "Oh my God." So then she's so worried she's gonna get big boobs. Like as she gets older. So she was younger. It was a few years ago.
Because they think it's what we have.
Right. So she's older now. So she's like. And so she'd make comments to me every once in a while, like, oh, I hope I don't get the big boob gene. I'm going to get that surgery like you got. And I'd be like, yeah, so anyways, for dinner, we're having tacos. Like, I'd always try to change the subject. So literally just like a month, not even a month ago, like a few weeks ago, we're sitting there. And she's like, Mom, she's like, yeah, she's like, I really hope I don't get big boobs. She's like looking down at herself. She goes,
they are getting bigger.
I know. But she's like, oh, I hope I don't have big boobs like you. I'm going to have to get that surgery. And I go, Ken, I got to tell you something. And she's like, and I'm like, I didn't have big boobs. I go, well, first I said, you're not going to have big boobs, honey. I can tell right now. She's like, no, but how big were yours when you were this age? And then it's like escalating to a big lie.
And they hate the lie. When they find out later. Lie. Yeah.
I just didn't want to. And so I was like, I got to tell her. It was like weighing on me, to be honest. So I said, listen, I need to tell you something. And she's like, what? And I'm like, I had implants. And she could not believe it. She was like, what? And I was like,
she's been stressing.
Yeah. She's like, wait, so I'm not going to have huge boobs? And she's like, wait, why'd you get them? So then it started this whole conversation.
But
she's
a good conversation.
Yeah. So she's like, so wait. And I go, it was back in the day. Everyone got them. It was totally different. So then she's asking me, everyone going down the list. So Crystal has a boob job? Yep. So-and-so has a boob job? Yep. And it was like crazy how many people she named
that had a boob job.
It was like almost every one of my friends.
Yeah.
And then she's like,
none of our friends have a boob job.
What?
Oh, maybe some of yours. I don't know. Hardly anyone besides you.
Oh, like
Go ahead.
So anyways, so she got to 1 and I was like, no, not her. And she goes, yeah, she's real natural. And I was like, totally, like a natural person. But it was just funny because so many people had him. And I was like, that's crazy. And then we sparked a whole honest conversation.
So, but after that, you still think you should lie because look at what a great conversation you had.
Right. Well, we had such a good conversation at a mature age. I don't think if like from 5th grade, her knowing I had a boob job, I don't know. And then she even said, I'm never going to get that because I don't want to like.
Have to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's hard because I still believe in the lying because your kids are going to do what you do.
Yeah.
Because they look up to you.
I agree. But like my mom always lied that she waited till she was married to have sex. And then now I'm like, you didn't do that. And I think that was great. I don't know. I think there's some truth in those moments of the true stories that I think you lose. My mom didn't talk to me about. I didn't really do a lot of things wrong, but I didn't really do everything right either in certain ways. Yeah. And I wish I could have, I guess we could talk about like sex and dating. I wish I could have talked to my mom more about that. Right. But she was so lying. Like even last night, I love talking to my mom about sex even at this age. You were on the phone and we were in the car and she's telling me, my dad was 86 and could barely stand up. And she's telling me they were still doing it.
I don't know how that
happened. You saw him. It was like, he could barely breathe. I don't know how he was getting it up and how they were still doing it. And they did it a lot. Like,
yeah.
But I love it as an adult, like, and someone that's married, knowing my parents, but they had the best marriage. And I think that sex was so part of it. So I wish, like, she would just have talked to me about more stuff. Yeah. Like, one of our friends tells her kids everything, and he's such a good kid. Yeah. And he didn't do any of the things because she's like, don't make the same mistakes I made.
But see, Ben always says, like, his dad talked to him about,
I think it's the way you drive the conversation.
Yeah. I think it just, I don't know. Because Ben had friends too that their parents did things and then the kids did it. Like, smoking pot or whatever.
But are the parents still actively smoking pot and then their kids are smoking pot?
Yes.
I think that's the difference. Like they're living it still.
Yeah, yeah.
Monkey see, monkey do.
I made a mistake.
Monkey see though. Yeah. Not monkey told me a story and I'm going to do the story.
Well, see, Ben's dad told him, like, I tried this. And then Ben's thing was, oh, you tried it and you're fine. So then... You know, I don't know.
So you don't want to tell them about anal. I agree.
I don't know. I feel like maybe lie until they're at the right age. You can have a good conversation.
Yeah. Because it's funny. I tell my cheerleaders the truth because they're not my kids. Yeah. And I tell them all the lessons I learned and this and that. But now Maddie's a cheerleader and I'm like, oh.
So they're going to tell her.
Yeah. They're telling her things and I'm like, crap. And so I'm kind of more honest because we do get to have like good conversations. But I don't know. I just like so far we're talking more about these things.
So does Maddie think that you waited for Kyle?
They haven't asked that, and I appreciate you saying that on the podcast. Something she can listen to.
All right, we'll edit that out.
No, it's fine. I don't want to be. I want to be. Let's be honest, like Kristen Cavallari. I don't want to be a liar like you do.
I'm gonna have a new podcast by myself called Let's Be Liars. It's fine.
With that, I think this is a good stopping point. Yeah. So. Maybe you can message us. Do you lie to your kids about what you've done in the past, especially when you have a past like Tisha's? Hooters.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Let us know. All right. Moving on. Lesson to be learned. Make sure he pays for you on the dates. Yeah. Make sure he works for you. And it's just a hole. Ladies, it's just a hole. Welcome to Jerking Around, a podcast that makes you feel better about yourself because we're a mess just like you.
And Crystal makes fun of me the whole time.
And it's great. And it's real.